Hi everybody, my name's Jessica. This is my first Flosstube video. I am 36. I have been an avid cross stitcher now for about 8 months. It's been an interesting journey. I did cross stitch when I was younger and picked it up again this past December when I ended up having to have a surgery that basically I had to be in bed for 2 or 3 weeks after, and as a result was like bored out of my mind and needed something to do. I've always loved watching stuff on YouTube, and so happened upon a video. I think the first video I ever watched was Priscilla and Chelsea, and I was like, oh, I think I want to do this. I want to try cross stitch again. So next thing you know, I've got my mom and my boyfriend, now fiance, out on the hunt for cross stitch supplies because I couldn't go get them. Next thing you know, I'm like, okay, we're gonna make a little day trip out to the only cross stitch store I can find in my area. I live in the great state of Nevada, and the only thing I dislike about my state is that, you know, there's not a lot of cross stitch stores like brick and mortar LNSs in my area. I'm super jealous of all of the Midwestern and East Coast stitchers who have amazing stores that they get to travel to that are within driving distance. I have gone a couple times over to California and found 1 or 2 shops that are pretty cool. We just recently went to the Gilroy Garlic Festival last weekend and happened into it was a needlepoint shop in Morgan Hill, California. The ladies were super helpful and found quite a few patterns. Ended up spending more money than I had intended to, but you know, when you find like exactly what you're looking for. Let's see, my favorite, I have a couple inspirational, you know, like people that I watch on Flosstube. My favorites would be, I guess, Chelsea and Priscilla and Chelsea. They're always entertaining. My fiance knows that on Saturday morning I go downstairs, I feed the dog, we hang out together, and we watch Priscilla and Chelsea while he sleeps on a Saturday morning kind of thing. So it's a tradition in our household, me and the French Bulldog watching Priscilla and Chelsea. It's a good time. I guess that my 3 other favorites that I watch like consistently, never miss an episode, would be Basic Stitches. I love just watching the 2 of them interact, and they always have projects that I'm like, ooh, I'd like to try that. I think I need to go out and buy that pattern. So favorite, you know, channels that definitely encourage me to get into something, into more trouble with you know, patterns and stuff like that. But other Flosstubers that I love watching on a consistent basis would be Mischievous Stitcher, as well as oh, I can't think of her name. Ooh, I can't think of her name. I'll have to look it up. I'll link it down below. But it's basically Mischievous Stitcher and this other Flosstuber that I'm thinking of. They do a lot more like sampler stuff that, although I find like super interesting and like, wow, that's really cool, I'm just not there yet. I love looking at some of their huge projects, and as you'll see with some of my projects, I prefer a little bit smaller project. I find it's so nice when I finish a project, so if it's too big, I kind of get a little bit overwhelmed and decide halfway through that I want to change and do something else. So haven't quite graduated to a large scale project, but eventually I'll get there. It's only been about 8 months. So let's see, something else about me, I guess, you know, a little bit more about my stitching. Huge Q-snap lover. I've also done a little bit of work with my mom. She's also a cross stitcher. She has like the roll bar stuff, and I love those. Those are nice for like bigger stuff, but like I said, I don't do that many big projects, and it's kind of a hassle for me to have to put it on rollers. So love my Q-snaps. I have a bunch of different sizes, so I can, even if it's a bigger for me project, I will sometimes switch to even just like the smaller one. The little tiny, like little 6-inch guy here is one of my favorites because it's just easy to hold on to and quick to stitch on kind of thing. If you hear chomping in the background, that would be our 6-month-old French Bulldog who is just going to town on a toy behind me. As you can also see, well, maybe you can't see, but this is some of my quilt work in the back here. I've been quilting since I was 18 and used to quilt as a business on the side when I was going to school and stuff like that, but yeah, so this is some of my older quilt projects. I have like a couple of these wooden ladders throughout my house that house or display some of my quilt projects. You know, it's kind of impractical to be a super amazing quilter in the great state of Nevada, being that it's the desert and we don't really need quilts, but I can't stop making them. So I think the one thing my fiance learned when we moved in together was, may not be marrying the crazy cat lady, but definitely marrying the crazy quilt lady. Because when he saw all of the quilts in one big pile, by the time we unpacked everything, he was like, what are all these? Why do we have so many? Since then, he doesn't ask as many silly questions, but you know, it was something. I didn't keep it from him. I just, you know, what do you like, go on a first date with somebody and be like, oh, by the way, I have like 800 quilts at my house because I'm a quilter. Anyway, so yeah, so I love quilting. I'm really obsessed with the cross stitch right now because it's a lot easier to obviously just pull out and work on the couch. I'm not giving up my quilting, but it just definitely takes a lot less time to pull out a little quick cross stitch project than it does to set up a whole quilting situation to work on a project. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Trying to keep the video kind of short and sweet because I know I like watching videos that don't take forever unless I have time to. So anyway, moving on to WIPS that I'm working on. I have, let's see, I have a lot of these little project bags. I love the Container Store. If there's a store that I go to way too much in my life, it's probably the Container Store. And so I saw, I think Basic Stitches, I saw them with these little tiny project bags. They have like the teal ones in there and keep some of their project in. I was like, those are perfect, and they're so inexpensive. So anyway, that's what I have for project bags. I am loving Lizzie Kate. I've been loving Lizzie Kate since I very first started. This is one of the first series that I bought. It's Lizzie Kate Less is More series. I think it's supposed to be done as a bell pull or like a long version. I prefer smaller stuff, so I'm doing them like individual little twosomes just because I don't really have a place in my home that I would like to kind of display something this long. But so I'm working on this one. There's a WIP that I have going right now, Fearless, Hope More. Working on that. Let's see how far we've gotten. We've got not very much, just started a letter. I tried a little bit to work on the Stitch Mania thing. It was a little overwhelming for me. After the first week, I was pretty much out of it because I had kind of overwhelmed myself with projects that I was working on. Also from that same series that I love from Lizzie Kate, I just think they're so pretty. I love her color choices. Is this Talk Less, Say More? This one I'm a lot further along on. I just kind of got a little burnt out on it, and so switched over to another project. So this is that one. There's not much left on that one. I just have to get going on it. I think what happened was I had an issue with one of these flowers, and I'm using all of these, most of the threads I use are DMC, and then I had in one of my purchases, the shop owner sent me a really pretty variegated, I think it's Classic Colorworks purple. I don't know what the color is specifically, but I just loved it for this. These flowers, they kind of look a little variegated. I don't know if you can catch that in the video, but anyway, there's something wrong with the flower. I messed up somehow. So, you know, when you don't really want to have to rip something out and you just decide, you know what, I'm going to start a different project. So, then, I don't know if I mentioned this I live in Nevada. Unlike most states, there's not a lot of, I mean, we're mostly desert, and there's just not a lot of cross-stitch places nearby where I live. Even though I live in a very large city, there's one real LNS nearby, Stitcher's Paradise. I love that little LNS, it's very nice. And then there's another one, I can't think of it, they're more of a needlepoint shop and less cross-stitch, but she has like mostly just like, you know, people's older patterns that people have decided they don't want and they want to unload in her store. So I found this little Bent Creek one. Oh, sorry, I don't know who this person is, but that's who owned it originally. It's a little bee themed tree. It says, "Be yourself, be true to yourself, be of good cheer." Yeah, be kind. It's kind of cute. I like that one. Let's see. Working on the larger chart on that one. Mostly just have like the beehive and the like started on the bees. It's just a little hard. The pattern's hard to read because it's printed on that same, like, on this kind of round paper. I need to make a working copy. We just recently updated my fiance's home office, and so we got a new printer slash scanner copier, which is for him at work, quote unquote, but also is gonna let me make more working copies here instead of doing that at my job. Let's see. Next WIP would be, if I turned inside out, this other Bent Creek one, Patriotic Row. I saw, I think Priscilla Chelsea did this one for her new baby's room cache. I think this is the one that's over the door in his nursery or something like that. And I just loved the way they finished it, so of course I had to go on and purchase it. And so I'm working on that one. I think I've gotten all the letters done at this point. I went back and am finishing up the houses, so I'm like halfway through the houses. I've got a little bit more work to do. I just kind of got on a roll with the letters, so I just kind of filled in the grass, so I knew the spacing was right, and then just kept going with the letters to finish it out. This is my little bell-looking needle minder. I have a ton of needle minders. I'll get to that at the end. I kind of get a little obsessed when I get into something. Let's see. Alright, so there's all that. Okay, so that's the end of the WIP parade, as they call it. Let's see, finishes recently. I finished this Flip It Lizzie Kate like monthly series. I really like the monthly series. I'll have to take some pictures and insert them at the end of the video if I can figure out how to do that. Because my fully finished objects are actually downstairs, already hanging on the wall, and I didn't think to take them down. But this yearly series by Lizzie Kate, I just loved it. I changed up a little bit of the colors because the called for DMCs just to me didn't look the same as the pictures or the way that I wanted them to turn out, so I changed up a couple of things. These are finishes for that series I'm working on. Just I have to put the little buttons on these ones. This is one of my favorites, also my birthday month. This is, I love that little bunny. I think he's super cute. Clearly, I got these done like back in March or so, but I haven't finished them all the way, so they haven't been on display. By the time I get them done, it'll be December. February, January. This was like the first month I did, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to change the colorway. I just went with what was called for, and it kind of, it's not my favorite color combination. It's just a little too, I don't love this mauve-y pink color all that much. I love pink, but this is just not my favorite color. But this is one of my favorite ones. This May one turned out super cute. So those ones are waiting for buttons, and these are the ones that have buttons. So I've got November, August, oops, December, which I think is super cute, and ooh, October. Alright, so those are finishes for that yearly series. And then these ones are just like I said, I love little tiny easy quick finishes. So this one was like a little tiny sample card from Prairie School Sampler. It just says welcome, it's got a little house on it. I changed up the color of the dog. The dog was brown, I think, initially, and I changed it to like a black dog just because we have a little black French bulldog, so I wanted him to kind of match our house. And I think the house was charted as like this, see this kind of variegated brick look, which is, I just used 2 different colors of DMC to get that. But that was the whole house, and it didn't look right, I thought, and so I decided to change it to a white house. We don't actually live in a white house, but I just like the way it looked. This one is another Lizzie Kate, just little boo, and I have since now found, I think, all the other ones of these, like the Easter one, there's a fall one, like a Christmas one. So that's that. This one I think I used every single called for DMC. This is a freebie. It's like a heart and hand freebie. It says love lives here. It was just, we were going on a trip, like I said, to Gilroy last weekend, and I needed like a quick easy something, and this came as like a freebie with an order that I made from a shop. And I liked it. I wasn't sure about the colors when I first pulled them. They're the called for colors, but I figured it's so tiny, if I don't like it, I'll just redo it in different colors and give it to somebody that maybe it matches their house better, but I actually kind of like how it turned out. So anyway, so there's that. And then let's see, I'm just looking at my list over here. Plans, so upcoming plans, like stuff that I've got kitted and am working on. I'm gonna get ready to start this Little House Needleworks one, Stars and Stripes. I know it's not really 4th of July season, we've missed that part of the year, but I just think it's super cute, and why not get it done. And I love the little sheep that's in there. You'll see my mom collects sheep, so I've lately been looking at different ones to do, either for her or give her. There's that. And then you may have noticed a trend. I do like Lizzie Kate a lot. I realize she's retiring, so now whenever I go to a store, I always check to see if there's any Lizzie Kates that I can't live without. This jolly, round and kind is he, Santa, you bring joy to me. It's Jolly, Round and Kind, Santa 14. By Lizzie Kate. I love this one, so I'm going to try that one next. And then last, I just have to finish pulling the threads out of my box. I know I bought all the threads at some point, so I just have to find them all again. This Country Cottage Needleworks one, Every Heart Beats True, for the red, white, and blue. Also the little sheep theme, I think is super cute. I feel like this is gonna, even though it's bigger than the other ones that I'd shown you, it'll go quickly because it's got mostly words and like pretty small motifs all over, so it'll go kind of quickly. Alright, so that would be plans for upcoming stuff. We are getting ready to go on like a family camping trip with my fiance's family to a cabin, which literally sounds like the most exciting weekend ever, because all I can think about is all the stitching that I will get done. So I'm excited about that. Another thing about me is that I am a little bit of a fanatic about organization and like storing stuff as best as possible. Anyway, I had just recently figured out, well, I kind of wanted to take stock of like, I went a little crazy a couple months ago. I just started ordering stuff off of Etsy and 123 Stitch, and Jen's Stitching Witch on Etsy. Favorite. Love her videos as well. Anyway, I ended up going to my favorite store, like I said, the Container Store, and picking up like a file folder kind of thing, so I could kind of organize and see a little bit better. What I found out quickly is that I have a crap ton of Christmas stuff, like way too many Christmas things. And let's see, I'm just going to show you one more that I think is going to go into plans. Oh, here it is. But this is my next 4th of July one that I'm going to work on, is this Little House Needleworks. Also, doesn't look like it's going to be too big, so work on getting that done. Let's see, I think that's it. Looking at about 20 minutes. I'm not sure how this video is going to turn out. I've never done any YouTube videos before. I've always watched it, and I definitely haven't ever tried to upload anything. So I will try and edit this. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully I didn't babble on for too long. I hope y'all are still watching if you decided to watch this one. Yeah, so I will take a couple pictures if I can figure out how to insert them of the couple of FFOs that I have in my house. Definitely was inspired by Priscilla and Chelsea. I love the way they finish things. There's a girl on YouTube called Java Girl Stitcher or Java Girl something. I'm sorry, on Instagram. Java Girl. I think she's from California, or maybe she's from Nevada like I am. But she does the most amazing like finishes too. She's amazing. I'm a little bit creative, but not that creative. Not as creative as those two sets of women, but working on it, trying to get a little bit fancier. I'm very specific. I have a hard time being like, oh, a little bit of this over here, a little bit of that over there. Anyway, so working on that. Oh, one other thing I was going to share, I guess, was my little Hobby Lobby find a couple months ago was this little, I think it's supposed to be like a little chalkboard. It's just a little white metal base, and it's metal. So I keep all my little needle minders on here. I've got a bunch of little Disney ones that I found. Again, Etsy, it's an addiction. Not all of my needle minders are even on here. I've got, most of them are in project bags already ready to go. So once I start that project, I'll pull out those needle minders. Anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and hope you liked my video, and we'll see you around. Thanks!